Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order for the communications meeting on Thursday, June 6th. B, conflicts of interest. Any conflicts of interest coming through, heard of? Anybody? Okay. Any public comment? Don't have any public here. Anybody else online? Anything else? Okay. And we move past C and we will go to D. Need to approve the minutes from last meeting on Wednesday, May 22nd.
I'll make a motion.
Brian?
I'll second.
Okay. Rachel? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Evan, did you say aye?
Aye.
These multis not mentioned. Okay. Then we will move to item number E. Review of public input platform from Kent Boring of Public. How do I pronounce it? Is it boring or boring? I mean, you say it different?
No, just like it looks.
Okay,
B-O-R-I-N-G,
Ken Boring.
just like the word,
Just like it
no
sounds.
different.
Okay, a public input and
Yeah.
follow up on the recommendation, include the platform in the CIP for the council review and decision. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, Tom, do you want me to just jump in? Is that okay?
Yeah.
we'd love you to,
Yep,
Ken.
it's your show right now, and if I have to
Cool.
do anything, let me know. I think you
Cool.
can share if you need to, but.
Yeah, so, no, I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me come. Tom, I've been meeting with Tom over the last several months. Marshfield is already a public input partner, and so I had asked Tom if I could get some FaceTime with your group just to talk a little bit about our platform. We are what I like to call an enterprise engagement platform, primarily used to engage citizens in equitable communications. Marshfield already has a contract with Public Input, so this isn't a sales pitch. This is strictly a showcasing a little bit about Public Input. And so want to talk just briefly about the capabilities. I'm going to share a screen real quick just so you all can see my screen. So this is our website, publicinput.com. You can see community software, community engagement software that gets more done. Primarily we focus on surveys, questionnaires, projects. A lot of folks use this as a project management tool as well. But really, the goal of Public Input is to reach more citizens for feedback and then for input about different projects that our partners have. And so traditionally, if you think back to the kind of traditional engagement model, everything happened through public meetings. And, essentially only those people that could come to public meetings and talk the loudest were often the ones that get heard, and that left out a segment of the population that wasn't being heard. So we wanted to provide opportunity for folks to provide input in non-traditional ways or potentially that weren't being heard while still allowing traditional forms of public engagement. So the public meeting's still gonna happen, which is excellent, but we wanted to provide things like text communication and email communication. We wanted to provide a place where people can go and see a project online, learn more about it, and then provide input about that project. So I have some example projects up here. This is a comprehensive plan that's being done through Prowers County. So this is through our site, Public Input. And you can see this is laid out a lot like a project management tool. So the comprehensive plan update, we have tabs up here, right? It's a little bit about the Prowers County Engagement Hub or the plan. Here you have upcoming meetings. They're going to be happening. You can stay up to date by opting in to subscribing to updates about the comprehensive plan here, providing email, phone, it's optional. This is going to filter into the back end of the database. That way, when you're ready to send out communications, you can simply go and say, okay, everybody that's opted in, I want to send a communication to, an email to, and let them know an update about our project. You can also talk a little about who's leading the project. In this case, this is a joint effort between Prowers County and the community. Logan Simpson is the consultant that's leading this project. But over here, you've got a little bit about the Prowers County comp plan right here in this middle part. You've got some frequently asked questions as well. Over here is your project roadmap or your timeline of the project. And then each of these tabs can hold different information. In this case, It's talking a little bit about who represents me or the commissioner districts for Prowers County, and then how you can get involved. These are going to be questions that they're asking the public, right? So how can you give us feedback? You can do it here. And so you've got opportunities for people to ask questions, provide feedback. That's going to go into the back end where you can then take that information, analyze that data, and then make an actionable decision. So really the goal is, how do we get you the information you need? How do we make sure you have defendable decisions to the public? So if the public comes and asks, why did you make the decision that you made around a particular effort? You can say, we provided opportunity for public comment through survey. We provided public comment through public meetings. We provided you the opportunity to text in your comments. We provided you the opportunity to email in your comments. We asked you surveys. And based on all of the information we gathered, that's why we made the decision we made. So this is a good example of a comprehensive plan. This is another comprehensive plan through Navajo County. Similar, but a little bit different in makeup, right? All the images are sharp. This looks good to the public. One cool thing about this Prowers County example is you're going to notice up here that the URL is actually masked to be prowerscompplan.com. So for branding and community trust, public input's never really even mentioned. It's just Prowers Comp Plan. But in the back end, this is public input running the software, running this site. So for any effort that you have, you could do this same thing now. You can mask that domain for any initiative you have coming up. I'll pause for just a minute because I know I'm talking a lot. So I'll pause for 2 seconds. And I think I heard somebody asking a question. Somebody have a question? Maybe that was just some background noise. So these are examples of projects that are being pushed out to your community. These are obviously pretty involved, as you can see. This Rapid City one here, you've got a questionnaire here. If you click on this, click here to take questionnaire 1, it's going to drive me into the questionnaire. So I can go through and take this questionnaire 1, provide feedback all the way down. And you can see they've even opted to show comments. So as people are looking through this, they can see all of the comments that have been made here. So they're very transparent with all of their information. And then they have this optional demographics section at the bottom. You always have the opportunity to collect demographics from your citizens. That can be fully anonymous as well. And so at the end of a survey, after they click submit, we'll have a little demographic module that pops up. It'll ask them demographics questions. That way you can get a little bit of better understanding about your community without necessarily tying the demographic to a specific person, if that makes sense. So this is a good example of a survey that they're asking about the comp plan. Once they're done, they can simply go right back into this comprehensive plan, read more information. The next time a survey's queued up, they can take another survey, send out a email to their constituents and say, hey, we're ready for round 2. We'd love to get your feedback again. Please check this page for updates. And all of that in the back end is going to be filtered in. Let me see if I can get to the back end real quick of this Rapid City one. Yeah, so it's going to end up right here, right? So you can see they've got 8,221 views, 139 participants, 712 responses, 216 comments, 10 subscribers. And they're able to go in and over here on this site, they can look at individual comments that have been made. They can click along these questions and they can start making sense of these questions. We even have the ability to have AI analysts run an analysis of these questions and provide themes that AI sees. If you want to get kind of a baseline number crunch of this information. And then for all of those qualitative data points, we have this results in data tab here, where we're going to put together a built-in dynamic report for you based on the questions you asked. This can be shared out to the public as a public link. This is dynamic, so as people are taking your questionnaire, you can just refresh this page and it's automatically going to bring up the most up-to-date information as well. As you can see here, this is a pin of where people live. what do you love most about Rapid City? Parks and Trails is the number 60%. Looks like Parks and Trails are winning. We have kind of a comment section here. People can explain a little bit more, but all of these are going to be represented within the dynamic report just out of the box. Which elements have the biggest opportunities for change? Improved infrastructure. So they know 60% of people are talking about infrastructure. That's what they need to focus on. And then finally down here, we've got our demographics. What's your age? Looks like 36 to 45 make up 35% of the respondents. 85% are white. So that gives them an idea of the type of user that's responding. The other thing this does is about midway through this project, if they see they're not getting the type of representative engagement that they want, they can go back and target groups, those underrepresented groups, in order to try to level out more of that engagement. So for instance, if they say, man, our city population has 25% Spanish speakers, and we're not getting a large number of those folks, we need to maybe rethink our marketing efforts to engage our Spanish speaking folks. Or in this case, Hispanic, Latino, Spanish, Black, or African American, we're not getting those responses. Why not? Why aren't we getting those responses? What do we need to do to reach out to those groups, and why are they not responding? So this is just an example of what comes out of the box with our dynamic report. Based on the questions you ask, we'll produce a quantitative report for you. And then that qualitative report for the question types are always going to be here. You have opportunities in the back end to crunch that data as well. We produce a smart cloud for you based on the question. And so these are based on keywords. So you can look at the comments and see sentiment around keywords that are triggered off of any of these questions. If you choose to tag the clouds with our AI analysis tool or manually, those are going to show up over here in the tag cloud. In this case, they haven't chosen to do that. They're just using the smart cloud at this point to analyze the sentiment and the keywords. But each question, each time you click on a comment question, you have that same opportunity to check out the smart cloud. In this case, it's this question here: what do you love most about Rapid City? City, parks was mentioned very positively, trails was mentioned positively, people mentioned positively. If you choose to use this AI analysis, it's going to be a little bit more intuitive. It'll take this basic keyword structure and add a little bit to it. It's obviously not just looking for keywords, it's looking for actually intuitive themes within your comments. You can choose to use the AI analysis, or you can create tagging rules in these comments as well. And you can tell our system anytime the word park is mentioned, the whole word, I want to tag that as park. And I want to only do that for comments within this project. Our system will go through and look for any time the word park is mentioned, and then go ahead and tag that comment as park. If you do that, that's going to show up under the tag cloud over here because you have manually tagged that. And so you can choose to do it that way. You can manually say, hey, I'm going to create some tagging rules. These are the things we're looking for. Again, the AI analysis is going to take that a little bit further. But in this case, if I want to go ahead and send an email out to these people who have subscribed to updates, pretty simple. Click on the subscriber tab. You can see the people that have subscribed. I just simply say email here. I want to send a draft. I'm going to click a new campaign. I'm going to go into the email tool here, and I'm going to draft my email from scratch, or if I have a template, I can draft that. Once I'm ready, I can see the recipients are all those people that have subscribed to the Rapid City Comprehensive Plan Update, and all those people that took questionnaire number 1, which was the questionnaire that was embedded that I showed you there. And then I simply send, and everybody's going to get an update from me. They're staying up to date. So if you have a call to action like, hey, we're ready for a second round of surveys, here's a link to that survey. Please take it now. We'd love to hear your ideas. That's going to filter right back into the product as well. I'll pause for just a minute I know, again, I've been talking for like 10 minutes, so I want to pause for any questions. Anybody have any questions? I'll talk briefly about our public portal as well. But this is really nuts and bolts of what a project looks like within public input. And I would say it's a pretty good example of how to build out a project. These are the tools that you would see in the back end. You simply create a project, you add all the elements and the graphics that you want to it. You add your tabs here, in this case for a project group. You can even go into the settings for this project and you can create some custom links here. And this is pretty cool. So in this case, they chose not to do it here, but I could say Rapid City comp. And I could do SPA for Spanish. And if I want to, I can change the language over here to Spanish. And if I were to create this link, Rapid City Comp, that would be a public link that they could click on, and we will automatically translate that page to Spanish for the user. So when you're marketing it out, you could market it out and say, hey, if you want to take our project survey in Spanish, you click the Spanish link. Cool thing is we'll actually track every time that button's clicked and tell you how many Spanish-speaking users are actually clicking those links. So you know, and we've got over 100 languages represented here. You can see all the languages here. Obviously, we're not going to record those answers in Spanish. When they come into our system, they'll be translated to English. So that way you don't have to be a Spanish speaker to be able to view that information. But that's available out of the box right now as well.
Hey Kent, this is Matt.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I think it seems like a pretty cool tool, but I was curious, can you give examples of how some of these communities have marketed it? Because I could see it being challenged to getting a lot of engagement.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways. Anytime you create a language link here, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going to do Rapid City Comp, right? So
I was
Rapid
just
City
saying the
Comp.
whole tool, for example, too, not just like a specific language thing or anything like that.
Say that again.
Oh, I guess I was just curious how the platform is marketed to get the public engaged, like not just a specific link for a language or anything, like the whole public. How do communities get people to use it?
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways. One is through their public portal. And so this is San Antonio's SA. They branded this as their engagement portal. So this is the city of San Antonio. Obviously, San Antonio is huge. But I'll give this as an example simply because they've really built it out. So they have branded their engagement portal as SA Speak Up. So every engagement opportunity lands here at SA Speak Up. And what they train their citizens to do is to come to SA Speak Up. So they set the standard for any project or survey where we're going to have community engagement. You go to SA Speak Up to do that. Then they brand out all of these individual projects beyond just SA Speak Up, right? So it's saspeakup.com/comp plan, for instance. And then outside of that, I mean, it's social media. It's driving posts through social media, right? So they're going to their social media outlets that they already have present and saying, hey, if you don't know about SA Speak Up, click here to go subscribe to our newsletters. Click here to go subscribe to our projects. We'd love to hear from you. So naturally, they're doing it through things like social media. All of the links that I mentioned at the project level are going to come out of the box with a QR code here as well. I don't know if you can see it where it says get QR code. I'm hovering over it there. So in this case, they've got QR code opportunities. They've just got the regular link you can click on. They already have text and email lists that they've populated. So if they're ready to engage residents on a specific topic that they've engaged with before, for instance, they can cross-market, right? So if, say, a segment of folks have kind of engaged with you on a specific topic, let's call it your pet shelter, right? Let's say you had an initiative about your pet shelter that you ran through public input. You're going to have that list on that project. You can then take that list and let's say it's, about, an upcoming pet, pet fundraiser, pet care fundraiser for your animal shelter or something like that. Well, naturally, if you have people that have already engaged with you around your pet shelter, you could target that same group of people. You're going to have the list within public input. It's saved on that project. We're going to keep it in perpetuity. So you can simply send out marketing and say, hey, you engage with us on the pet shelter initiative. We'd love for you to advocate for our pet fundraiser as well. Here's how you can do that. Here's instructions, right? So you send out an email, send out a text message to those folks. They're going to get it. You can ask them to engage.
Okay, thanks, Ken.
So those are pretty traditional ways. I mean, you've essentially got QR code, you've got just URL links, you've got the opportunity to use social media directly within the project as well. So this social tab, you can essentially link your social media accounts. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Nextdoor all available out of the box. Most folks are using Facebook, I will say. So if you've got a Marshfield Facebook where you have great engagement, you're simply going to link this project to that Facebook, and it's just another way to engagement from Facebook to the project itself. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
Kent, Tom here, I think some of
Yeah.
these might help the group. I have 3 questions. Consultants on how they could use this. Our city uses a lot of consultants for things, for projects, even to right now somewhat running a department. Also, the other thing, I had questions, I don't know if anyone's ever doing this. There was a question by local business owners asking if they could use public input to help with their business and understanding if they could write a business plan to know their market, understand their market. Has anybody ever used it for that? They actually asked me that. Could a business that's looking to develop want to know more about the market before they decide to come here? Could they use this platform? And then the other is the meetings tab. What does that have?
Yeah, so I'll address these one at a time. So consultants, tons of consultant use public input. It's super easy. As a matter of fact, this is a consultant-run project that we're looking at right now. This Rapid City Comprehensive Plan is run by a consultant. In this case, the consultant is contracting directly through public input. In your case, if you're contracting with the consultant through the city of Marshfield, it's a really easy process. I'll just use this as an example. In the settings tab over here, in this admins tab, this is where you would normally add city of Marshfield. If this were city of Marshfield, you would just simply say add new admin, and the admin works for city of Rapid City, San Diego. In this case, we would just say an external consultant or contractor, and you would add whoever you're adding just as a consultant. And then you could lock their permissions to whatever you want. So you can see these are some permissions here that we have set up. This is our permissions tab. So you can see, if we want that consultant to only have editor level privileges, but they can't actually publish within public input, then we would make them an editor. If you feel comfortable giving them editor level permission or publisher level permissions, you can have them as a publisher within public input. I probably wouldn't recommend ever giving them administrator privileges. That's really the highest level privilege. They can add and edit other administrators and users, but it's really pretty easy. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many consultants are currently within public input, but it's thousands are within public input. So tons of consultants use it. We kind of have 2 models. Again, we directly contract through some consultants on their own, and they're going out and kind of winning bids for projects like comp plans, and then using our platform to run those projects. But several agencies already have existing relationship with consultants. They have them essentially on their payroll, and you can just add them as a consultant, user as an admin. Very easy to do. Any questions on that? Did that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. And we offer some benefits to consultants as well. So like we have a certification process that they can go through, some different things like that. So you're welcome to kind of put them through the paces to become like public input certified. So you have a certain level of like trust with that consultant. I would suggest that. Would have them go through the certification process. It's free. they're going to be able to get the information they need to do good work within public input. Highly suggest that. The second question was around business owners. I'll say that that's a little unique because that's a resident. I wouldn't mind that. On every project, you have the opportunity to provide login-free access. And now this is in draft mode. Well, let me see if I can kind of find the, let me think, where do I find that? Well, I'm on the spot and I'm blanking on it, but essentially you can provide a login-free access to a project. It's probably because it's live. When it goes to draft here, if we were to revert this to draft mode, you can provide a login-free access. And so if you wanted to work with a business owner, I'd probably recommend providing, somebody at the city of Marshfield is really the accountable owner for the project, but you would be able to give login-free access to some of your community stakeholders to be able to view the project you're working on and provide feedback. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would say
it would be unique to add a external person like that, but I mean, technically, if you wanted to add them as a here, essentially, as this community partner or other stakeholder, you could do that as well. I would, just recommend locking down those permissions, probably maybe restricting their viewing to only certain projects or only certain departments within public input. It may just cause some issues internally if you were to provide a community member access to CRM records, for instance, for citizens or things like that, they're not going to be held to the same standards as City of Marshfield employees that probably have some kind of non-disclosure information they have to sign, things like that, an accountability signature or something. So those are all things to think about. You could add them as a community partner stakeholder. Again, I'd probably recommend just thinking through those permissions and viewing privileges if you do that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, just wanted you to touch base on that.
You've got like a couple options. You can add them here and use permissions, or somebody at Marshfield can be the accountable owner of the project, manage it and share that login-free access and kind of get feedback about the project, but really the City of Marshfield employee is the one who's making the updates to the project. Couple options there.
Can we?
And the third one was the meetings tab. So you have a couple options for meetings. This meeting's an offline tab. Essentially, you can use this in a few different ways. You can use it simply as an kind of an event planner type thing, right? So it's just an information, you're going to have events that you want to showcase out to the public. You can create events. Let's see if we have some of these that are live, right? So upcoming meetings, this is the Prowers County Comp Plan. You can see that this Community Choices and Priorities Workshop, they've just created that as an event. That's an upcoming event that they're letting folks know about that's tied to this project. It's happening Tuesday, June 11th at 6. You can text CV5264 to this number, probably in order to leave voicemail comments, for instance, or you can email this email, cb5264@publicinput.com, if you want to leave an email comment, essentially. So you can set it up as there's a lot of things you can do with this. So I want to make sure I'm succinct here. A meeting and event can simply be a meeting or event.
Hey.
Come out and see us in person.
Hey.
Oh, we've got a question here. Go ahead.
Can you?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Can you show us something from Marshfield that your thing has done for Marshfield? Can you show us a
Yeah.
survey Marshfield and so we can see what engagement Marshfield is clocking in at?
I would say a
Yeah.
chicken survey was a good one.
Yeah,
Say that again, Tom. Which one?
Either the backyard chicken survey was a good one.
Yeah, so this backyard chicken ordinance survey. Might take a minute.
Sure.
Hey, Tom, question. So this is a product and service we're already using, right?
Correct.
You just want to kind of show us.
We
how
want
it
to see if we
works.
want to, because the plan is up, we would have to put it in our CIP. CIP is coming up in a week or two to really plan if we're going to continue the process. There's some staff that doesn't want to continue. I want to leave, I feel it's important that this group has a say and as well as the council on that, because it is a public forum. And it was paid by franchise fees, 235 fees, not anything to do with taxes.
They're paying for it.
We paid.
The cable dollars, right?
Right.
Yeah, but this is technically a platform
For the whole city.
for the whole city. This isn't really a Tom platform, it's a platform to provide information to the council, make educated decisions like this chicken survey here that we did
Yeah,
earlier.
this is great. Chickens evidently are very popular point of discussion in city of Marshfield. So 2,400 views, over 1,000 participants, 3,500 responses, 335 comments. So this is a great example. If we go to results and data and we take a look here at the dynamic report, this is going to be kind of the nuts and bolts numbers here. I'm interested in housing chickens on my property. 53% said yes. You got the opportunity for folks to give comments as well. So you had almost 1,000 people respond to that. That's a really strong response. Here, tons of comments that are dropping in here. You can see all these comments go on for a while. And then here, I'm comfortable having my neighbor's house chickens. 57% said yes. So in this case, you had a pretty direct survey here, right? I don't think there were a ton of questions. I mean, it might have been 3 or 4 questions that were asked. But I mean, you've got the information you need at least to take this to council and say, hey, we had a lot of participation here. We had 960 people participate. I don't know what number of your total population that would be, but that seems pretty significant. And this tells a story. You've got these comments here. You can go into this comment section. You can say, hey, we had 151 comments on I'm interested in housing chickens on my property. Smart Cloud, right? You can see some of the sentiment analysis here. If you wanted to go into the AI analysis, I'll run AI on this specific comment set. It takes about 30 to 45 seconds, so I don't mind running this real quick, as long as you're willing to kind of bear with me for 30 seconds as it runs. But essentially, our AI analysis tool is going to basically read through everything and provide a summary of themes
It was helpful.
that it sees within the comments. Once it produces that, then you can edit those themes, combine them, add your own themes, and then essentially say, hey, I want to apply this set of themes to this comments. It's going to go back through and add those themes as if you had done it manually. So you got 5 things here that really came out of these 151 comments. Support for backyard chickens, concerns about animal welfare, opposition to urban livestock, issues with noise and smell, and potential rodent attraction concerns. It looks like these are the 5 most popular themes that came out of this particular question set. If I applied those tags, you could see the actual number of comments that contained each of these themes. So even though you have opposition to urban livestock, there may have only been 20 comments about that, right? You might have had 50 that had support for backyard chickens, for all I know, right? But you can edit each of these separately. If you want to say something different here, you can add your own tag as well. So let's say you are particularly concerned about city limits, right? You might add that.
Hey, Ken.
City limits.
I think we have a pretty good idea of how the tool works and stuff. I think if you guys are okay, do you guys mind moving on? Maybe I think we need to discuss the cost of it and like some of that stuff, if that's okay.
Happy to do that. Yeah, and if you need any more information, I'm happy to come back. If there's specific questions, have Tom follow up with me, but
No, thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for the detail.
Thank you.
absolutely. Great to be able to jump in for a few minutes. Appreciate your time, giving me 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes.
I appreciate
So
that.
yeah, excited to see what the next steps are. Let me know if I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Ken.
All right,
Anything else,
thanks.
you guys? Thanks, Ken.
I'll go ahead and drop off.
Okay, we appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks, guys. I didn't mean to be rude, but I was like, I don't care what every menu says.
No, we're trying to get the nuts and bolts of it, and I think he wasn't here
Yeah,
the last
maybe I-
meeting when we were talking about this.
I missed some, I'm sorry.
sure.
so.
It sounds like right now, the money for this particular tool is coming from the user, or the cable fees.
At this
Which
point.
means that, this department, which is basically being funded by that,
Exactly.
is paying for that, which I think you're trying to determine, is
Is
this
it
more of a
worth it?
city thing? And if you're gonna put it in the CIP, is the city gonna pay for this? Not even wanna pay for it? Because
Right.
it's not gonna keep
Is
landing
that
on
what you
this.
wanna do, Tom, is to try to pitch it to be outside of this
Well,
budget?
I mean, for this to be effective, it has to be used by the departments. The departments are gonna want to, it's like any communication that we have. If we don't have communications coming to us, there's nothing we can do. We can't make it up.
Are any of the departments currently using it?
Most of the requests have all come from council. Chicken, I believe, was council request. Some of those others, the only department I know that used it was the comprehensive plan for Parks and Rec. So it was used for that, which was done well. Also, it was used for a senior survey, more on the manual end, not just to
But like
input.
the chicken one, you pretty much ran the survey.
I've ran
from the
every
council.
one of them so far.
So that was
Yeah.
like just your office, it
Tom,
wasn't
how
any
much
other
does it
departments?
This platform costs $12,500 a year, $12,500 a year.
It's about
It's gonna
$1,000.
it's gonna go up probably to about 13,500, guessing, and you have to sign a 2-year plan. Now, what I was looking at is to put it in the CIP. A lot of confusion comes in with the CIP is funding. I don't, see, CIP has a $4.5 million get a loan. Well, a lot of it, if you look into it, funding isn't all done by that in a CIP. There's funding by the 235, or funding by the general fund, or funding by fees like tourism fees. You gotta really look into that when they're talking about the CIP. So what I did is I wanted to put this in the CIP. I didn't have a funding source at the time, so staff looked at it and said, we're not gonna have it because we need to get ourselves under $4.5 million. We can't go above 4.5, so we're looking at what's more important, streets, well, yes, we gotta get that. And now, because we can't come to the council at a $5 million, every little thing counts, so that's why staff looked at it, that we didn't think we needed it. Now, we could say, well, we'll just come out of the 235 fund, but also I don't wanna just look at that and say, well, whatever, it comes out of 235, we'll just spend it anyway. That's not right either. I want it to be able to be usable. If we're not going to use it, then I would say we don't continue the service after next year.
Would you ideally not want it coming out of the cable dollars fund?
By far, because
Okay, so that's what you want to try
it
to
really
pitch.
should come out of, I mean, because it's broadly used by, it's meant to use for decisions for departments to
It's
use.
probably the biggest hurdle is getting the departments to buy in and use it, right?
Correct. But if the council seems that it's useful, which if they want it and they want these answers, then they can ask for it to be
What,
funded.
like, I'm sure there's quite a few other similar products, like, if you just use SurveyMonkey, would you get similar data?
A lot harder process because of how this ties into a lot of unique areas. As you can see, that chicken survey, when that was tied into Facebook, everything came together. If you had to put all that together on your own, it'd take you a lot of time, a lot of man hours. Who would do that? Probably nobody, especially if we don't have it. Now, I can tell you when Carrie Edmondson came by, she loved this platform, was gonna take it right away. She knew what it was, exactly knew what it was.
So you're saying bang for the dollar, this is a
She
pretty
would have
good-
used this instantaneously, looked at it in Rapids and said they'd do it, but they couldn't. afford it.
what I can see, what I've seen it, I think it's a very valuable tool. I can't imagine that anybody in the council, Brian, would not think that this is a valuable tool to get more input from the the people.
One
And I
thing,
think what you need to do is, you have to bring it to the council somehow. I mean, that's.
And that's kind of what I did here. I wanted Kent to provide a level of what this thing does, more than me bringing it.
Yeah.
And I thought that would give some discussion and interest and give it a fair shake to see if we really want it or not. Yeah, but like I say, if the departments aren't going to want to use it, then I suggest not to have
Yeah.
it, because I think it'd be a waste of money. Because unless the council authorizes us to use it and says you gotta use it, then I guess then.
You're
that's
looking
what
for
we'll-
their push to get.
I'm
the-
looking, yeah, it really,
to get the
I don't wanna just
departments
end it
that-
and all of a sudden they say, you asked me to do a survey and I say, oh, it's gone. I'm like, well, I didn't know that. I wanted to be because I know Ed Wagner and I both looked at something similar to this way back 4 or 5 years ago. And it was more expensive. He liked it, but just didn't feel we were ready for something like that at this point. He told me, are we really ready? Well, I don't think we're using it to the advantage we need to. It has a lot of functionality. If we were to do Second Street corridor, that should be on there. If we're gonna do the Wenzel Plaza bathroom, that would have been on there. You could
Oh,
find everything
I think
right
it's
there.
one thing I'm a little
So-
worried about is I kind of feel like this gets into the Facebook comment thing. Like you'll get 1,000 Facebook comments, but there's nobody. You can say whatever you want. There's nobody rebutting you. You get the armchair politicians that will say, "Yeah, I hate chickens. Yeah, I hate chickens," but
Yeah.
you won't get one of them to show up to an actual meeting in person to discuss it. They just want to say,
But
"I
that-
hate chickens."
You know what though, Matt? That's reality. That's why I think this is
That's
a
the point
very,
of the tool.
yeah, I think it's a huge tool that the city, I mean, I think would be ashamed to lose it.
One of the things I thought, and not to interrupt.
I agree with you.
Is we do a lot of public informational meetings. Now, no offense to how we do it, it's great, I mean, it works wonderful. But I'm a parent. If I had to come here at a certain time of that,
Yeah.
and I couldn't make it, I could go on this.
Yeah.
And I could phone in my questions and get those answers. I could go online, I could do so many different ways to be able to get that information rather than, oh, I have to attend or I gotta call someone on the phone.
Well, that's what
We're
I'm
in a
saying.
different
People are
world.
time poor.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
wants to be connected.
That's why
this
nobody
way.
comes to these meetings, because
Yeah.
at 6 o'clock, that's impossible. A
Yeah.
family, we all know, not a chance.
No, I think, I mean, I'm hoping, Brian, that the council, that we can do something with council, and at least show them what this thing can do to try and push this thing, but I agree with you, Tom, if they're not gonna bite on it,
Yeah, then I think it should go away because it's too expensive and for us not to use, so.
Okay, so I didn't know what CIP was, so I had to do some digging. And I even asked administration here what their definition of the CIP was. And they seemed like they were defining things that were physical and tangible. And this is software, and it kind of falls under fiscal health. But what concerns me is I know how important the 2025 budget is.
Mhm.
And I feel like maybe if we went to the council and said, we'll pay half, you pay half, it's more responsible on our part. You still have the tool, and then you can start to say, we're gonna just do it this year. If we don't get engagement from administration, from the different departments, we're not gonna run this tool anymore. I think Visit Marshfield, that's who you are. I think you could use this tool. I don't know why Mackey and you and Main Street aren't a part of this tool, because it's about engaging the public in advertising the city works and what the city does for you as the public. I just don't wanna go to the council and say, we want the full 12,000. I just don't think this fiscal responsibility terms are popping up in all kinds of councils and boards. And I think we'd be met with more openness if we said, please pay for half of this.
I think it's a good point. I think one thing, if Kent did a presentation, or you do a presentation, I would probably try to stay away from, well, we can change it to Spanish. If you go under this menu, it goes this. It would be more like, let's look at the data, let's look how we interpret the data, and let's think the good things rather than
show
all
them the
those
chicken
insults.
thing like they just did, you
Yeah.
know, that kind of stuff.
That was great engagement. I mean, that was better engagement than some of their other communities he was showing us.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think one of the things he wanted to do is show the projects, the piece that we're kind of missing there. So there's real no follow-up of project. We have a lot of projects going on, but how do you find them?
Do you-
How do you find the bathroom?
One of the question I have for Tom is there's probably a lot of this work already being done, but not using this tool.
Correct, but it's done in, no offense,
Spreadsheets and,
PDFs, something that was done, the way things were done 15, 20 years ago. I'm just trying to, as a communications director, try to bring us into an innovative way of.
so I think you have to
of
try to sell it
communicating.
of like.
We're trying to
the
innovate.
current staff
Yeah.
can probably streamline their jobs
Correct.
using this tool to save money and save time.
Save time, efficiency, and get more people engaged, because without good community engagement, I've always learned cities die a slow death.
Mhm.
Without the community, that's just what I've learned. But like I said, I just wanted to provide this opportunity. I look at our money is no different than it's the general fund or not. So from my point of view, money in our fund or money in Park and Rec or any other fund is all the same to me. I think we should all look at it the same. And that's where I don't want to just fund this because it's coming out of 235 and we don't really care. That's not a good way to, and I'm a little hesitant, I'm saying this right now in public camera, but the 235 fund is one of the lowest funds, and we've already managed to do about as many cuts as we can do as possible. I think David could say that. I mean, I'm working on a 1975 desk that falls apart because we can't afford some of the other stuff that maybe other places, departments can. It's a little different. I'm just saying, I don't wanna just fund it because it's cable franchise fees. I think communications really, if we ask, I'll be honest, if we ask the public, would you want more communications? Do you want that available? Do you feel your taxpayers' money should pay it? I think that'd be something that we should know.
Yeah,
But that's my feeling of it. I think communications is key in the world. I think all of us in the whole wide world need to improve on that.
so what are you looking for tonight? You're
Just
looking for-
really, I wanted you to see it. I wanted you to see if you want to move it on to the council for recommendation from the council.
Okay.
I think we need that, if that's something you want. If not, then they can watch this and make that decision as well and go from there.
I would
Are you
make,
making a recommendation?
I would make a recommendation that the council considers paying half of the tool, and we pay the other half, and that each department commits to using the tool once in the year. This way, they can see if it really is relative, because so far, nobody's committed to using it except Mr. Laux, and we need more engagement from administration to see if it's worthwhile.
So that's your motion?
Yeah,
Your
is that a
motion
big
is-
motion?
Well-
I'm not running the meeting, but.
I motion that we ask the council.
Go ahead, Brian, you can.
So I would start with just kind of what Tom is saying, introducing it to the council, making them watch the presentation so they.
Before you
so they
get
can
into the
see
monetary
before-
part?
yes.
asking for the money.
That's what I
Yes.
was thinking, the same thing, is let them see what they wanna do before we even talk the money part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So you wanna just make a recommendation to forward it to the council at this point in
Yeah.
time, Rachel?
So I guess I recommend that we forward this video of this meeting on to council so they can make an educated decision.
Okay, so there's a motion for that, anybody wanna second it?
I don't know if I wanna forward the video to them, I think maybe they should get their own presentation, cause I don't think they'll watch it.
I think it's too much, maybe too much.
Yeah.
I think you gotta try to get it into a meeting. I know like there's a time crunch, but.
Can you get him to cut that down a little bit and just, like you said?
Oh, I'm
do the-
sure, we could say you get 5 minutes, and that's all you get.
Yeah, and just have him
Do the highlights of
Or
it.
10, I think you need more than 5, I'd say you need 10.
Probably 10 minutes, but yeah, away from
Could
the
that- condense
functionality
it
of
down
it,
to
more
10?
of the results oriented
Yeah, just.
stuff.
Show them
have
the
him
chicken
focus
one,
on
put
Marshall.
that in there.
Yeah, the chicken one was the
Yeah.
best.
Oh, I think that's
Definitely
huge
by
to show
far.
that.
I just think it would be really good to have that person or someone from the public input do that rather than me.
Yeah.
Okay.
To give a little bit different, because they work with this all the time, it gives them a little bit different
I
perspective.
agree.
Yeah, and I think you could preference it and say, hey, this is a tool that we've used, we like it, here's a little bit more info about it, we want to use it in the future and
We
want
wanna
you to
see
know
if
about
this
it.
is what we wanna
We might want to
continue,
use it
blah,
in the
blah,
future
blah.
and want to make you aware of
The
it.
thing, I just don't want to spend the money if we don't want to use it, so I'm giving that opportunity.
Okay.
I think
so
it's fair.
Let's go back.
Okay, So.
You want to amend your motion to just say we're gonna move it to the council and for their own presentation from
Alright, I'm gonna amend my motion to move that Ken Boring, is that who we're gonna
Kent?
contact?
Yeah.
Do a 10-minute presentation on the chicken, things specific to Marshfield, the chicken council, yeah, and how the community engaged with that.
Okay. Any second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay, Matt's gonna, got it? Okay, all in favor say aye. Any nays?
Aye.
Okay, everybody's aye? Okay, great, moving on to that. I know, we gotta move.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
So
Thanks,
just,
guys.
just make sure I will put this in and provide it
Don't
to
forget your
Steve. I
Oh,
don't think
okay.
there's anything that you have to do then. in
As long as
regards
Steve
to
gets
that.
it, he can get it on that council and,
Yeah, I'll ask him how he
Right,
wants to
top
do
10
that.
minutes,
Because
time.
if it's just in consent, I don't know if that'll work, so I'll find out.
I would see if he can actually get it on as an agenda item.
Agenda item.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
As we don't have to do that in future agendas, we've already had a
Yep.
recommendation. Okay,
perfect.
all right.
So how fast can we do F? Review rules and producers for Marshall Broadcasting.
Pretty fast, actually.
All right, let's do it.
Because David had provided, well, I don't know if you have it that you could show the group, but we're looking to put information before a program that would not have our liability in there. Do you have that to show at all?
Can't because you got it on
Oh,
Zoom, but I can, bring something up here from.
Are you coming up with a contract of some sort or
No.
just
No,
a?
no, this is the disclaimer.
It's a disclaimer.
Oh, a
This is-
disclaimer.
Yeah, it's on their recent Hub City Times video, is it Hub City, whatever the recent video they put up?
yes,
It's very-
it was on a program that's coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
So then, I'll try to show you, Evan, if we can show you. So that's a 15-second, or a 20-second.
So it's just a disclaimer.
It's just a
Yeah.
disclaimer saying that, and Evan, I'll read it here, what it says on the video for text there, so the viewpoints expressed in programs seen on Marshall Broadcasting Channels 989, 990, and 991 platforms are not necessarily those of the cable system, streaming platforms, the city of Marshfield, or its employees. Each program's producers, sponsors, or submitters of a program is responsible for the program's content. So that's a 20-second video that plays prior to the main video.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it just protects everybody, and if anyone
Absolutely.
calls and complains, you just direct them to that.
Yeah, so the rules in there, we have to do is change that for our submitted programming. That means anybody that submits a programming will have to have that put into their program.
Good
And
idea.
and we would not do that for them, they would have to do that. So any religious program, like a church, would have to put that in there.
Okay.
It's gonna take a few months, we are looking at August 1st for that. But and this is only gonna be basically community-based programs. Now, David, we were talking about some programs that are produced on the Marshfield Now channel would have that as well. So no government, kind of like, nothing
Right.
like council preview.
It's anything that anybody's doing outside.
Yeah, or even us,
Yeah.
as a staff that interviews somebody in the studio that's like a, I don't know, community style program, right?
Right, so sometimes I do, some programs with nonprofits and stuff like that, or talk about events or talk about, something that's going on, and, well, yeah, of course, I'm a staff member, so, even though I'm producing it as under the city, I'm still gonna put that under there because it's not necessarily anybody else's views or myself, I would guess per se, unless, I may have an opinion too in that program, but those would be
Okay.
mine only and not
Right.
somebody else within the departments telling me to say something, so.
Okay,
I think it's an example of a candidate interview, it's still, it's not a government, say, program.
right.
A candidate interview would be something that their viewpoints
Okay.
would say.
Are you looking for action on this? or
No,
just-
we wanted just to provide
Okay.
you that we are doing this. This is something I think Rachel had asked of us wanted to provide feedback and a timeline of August.
August.
To get this done with the community producers out there that we use, plus our own, so.
Okay.
But we're already started, but that's our
Okay.
goal.
Perfect. How about G, announce Wisconsin Community Media 2024 Producers Awards received by local producers from Marshall Broadcasting.
Yeah, I just wanted to provide an update. I know we'll be sending a press release on this. David and I attended this. It's our annual Wisconsin Community Media Conference and Media Fest. And we brought back several different awards, achievement awards. I had a
Wonderful.
few. David had one, and a couple of our producers, Mike Weigel had two. Mike Warren had one on a program we helped produce on the school board that we did a series on that had to do with the referendum.
Okay.
So we did. We came back with quite a few awards, and I just think it's good to let the public know that our programs are right up there in
Perfect.
quality, and we'll be sending that out. And it's nice that the producers get recognized as well. It's
Sure.
it's not about us. It's
Nope, got
That's
it.
not the Tom and Dave show.
no, it's definitely not.
Got it.
That's not what we want.
No, appreciate it. Good.
Yeah, that's it there.
Anything that we have to talk for future agenda items at this point in time, or are we just going back on our normal basis for at this point?
I still wanna bring up audio for school board and police and fire commission. Somehow we need to get that audio cleared up. Make it much more easy to understand.
Audio for school board, police and fire. So basically you're saying outside meetings of
Yeah.
the council chambers.
Yeah, just, I mean, I don't know how this audio is gonna sound. I think it'll probably sound pretty good.
But we're in a
But
small room,
We're-
it's a bit different, but
the school board's very difficult to understand.
Okay?
all right, we can
Nick?
bring back some thoughts and recommendations
Put it on the next agenda
in our
then.
next
Okay.
agenda.
Great. Any other comments? Anybody? Anybody for a movement to
Adjourn, I move to adjourn.
Rachel?
Oh, I gotta write that one
I'll
down.
second.
Second,
So
Brian?
Rachel, Brian.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.